After World War I, the French cavalry sought reform, hoping to be revitalized by the support of mechanized vehicles. However, the French cavalry was obviously a contradictory entity, with the desire for a complete change conflicting with conservative cavalry thinking. This chaotic situation not only affected the development of the troops, but also influenced the equipment design concepts of military-industrial enterprises. The Citroën P103 cavalry tank was deeply affected by this. In fact, Citroën had been involved in the field of armored vehicles very early, and in the early 1930s, it developed the P28 half-track armored vehicle for the French cavalry. This was a half-track vehicle developed to replace horses and serve as a mechanized reconnaissance unit for the French military. From here, it can be seen that the conservative thinking of the French military at that time was limited to simply using machines to replace horses rather than conducting in-depth research from a tactical and strategic perspective, or even ignoring this trend. The P-28 armored vehicle was not successful, with only 50 vehicles equipped by the French military, and they were dispersed among the cavalry units rather than forming an independent combat unit. The P-103 was a fully tracked armored vehicle redeveloped by Citroën for the cavalry units after learning from the various lessons of the P-28. The P-103 was more like a light tank, with a chassis that was somewhat similar to the light tanks of the time, with a driver's cab at the front, a combat compartment in the middle, and an engine compartment at the rear. Its engine was the same model as the one used in the P-28, but with increased capacity, resulting in a slightly greater output power than 67 horsepower. One of the achievements of Citroën from the P-28 was the rubber fiber tracks, and the P-103 used an upgraded version of the tracks, which consisted of a multi-layered structure made of rubber and fabric, improving the reliability of the tracks while retaining the silent capability of rubber tracks. The tank had 6 pairs of small-diameter idler wheels and used a balanced suspension. At the same time, other French tanks of the period began to use a large number of cast structures, which had certain advantages in bulletproofing, etc. The Citroën Company's P103 only used cast parts in a few armored structures, with most being riveted armor plates. The thickest frontal armor was 20 millimeters, the side armor was 15 millimeters, and the top and bottom were 5 millimeters, a level of protection only on par with that of a light tank. The turret of the P103 was positioned to the right, and the initial turret size was slightly smaller, housing a 7.5mm machine gun, and later the size was enlarged, making it possible to mount the standard 25mm Hotchkiss anti-tank gun of the French Army inside the turret, with an auxiliary weapon of a 7.5mm machine gun. At the time, Citroën was competing with products from Renault and Hotchkiss, and the P103 passed tests in April 1935, which seemed to be good news, but the military remained silent afterwards. This made the fate of the P103 unpredictable, and changes also occurred within the company, with the leadership deciding not to be led by the military and wanting to independently control the design concepts of weapons and equipment. Under the influence of a series of factors, the P103 remained in the prototype stage, and the winner of the competition for the related project was the Hotchkiss H35 light tank. The Citroën P103 weighed 5,000 kilograms, was 4 meters long, 1.6 meters wide, 1.8 meters high, and had a crew of 2, a driver and a commander, also a gunner and loader, with a maximum speed of 30 kilometers per hour.